Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm glad to see you all back. I hope you're all doing well, because yesterday I did an article about Clover and Snoopy, the Chandler's Beagles. It was an article that made me incredibly angry, and something that I think the reasons for my anger were, I think, perfectly legitimate and absolutely justified. If you don't think they were, you may want to take a look at that video. But if you still think I'm wrong, then you're more than free to do so. Just let me know these sorts of things. Now, besides dogs, and there is still Paddy to talk about, which we will do later on. There's also the question of the innumerable hordes of cats that the Chandlers have owned over the years, and this whole article ranges somewhere between frustrating, horrifying, angry, and just straight up upsetting. So, if you're a cat person and you don't want to hear about not very nice things happening to cats, then I suggest you just click the video off right now because, listen, I like cats. I really do. However, I'm quite allergic to like long-haired cats, so that's the only real reason why I've never owned a cat, I suppose. But I do love them. I'm not going to even go not suggest otherwise. But well, let's just get into this, shall we? I would like to state I do not quote unquote piddle my cats. The only parts I touch on them are the backs are the back and their heads, nothing more. Thank God Chris needed to let us know these things because imagine if someone was prompted to never mind. The Chandlers have had at least 12 cats over the years. Several were taken in from strays that hang around in their yard, and the origins of the rest are unknown. Chris provides basic care for the cats, such as food, shelter, and vet trips in emergencies. Currently, Lucy, Sylvia, and Baby are still with the Chandlers as of 2019. Good lord, this article is gonna... Now, I might get into it when we get into the end of this, because if this really has not been changed since 2019, well, I think Baby was the last cat that we knew of since 2021, and I don't really think Bob has gotten any new cats since, but we'll talk about that later. Of the others, one was adopted out, 5 are deceased, and the statuses of the rest are unknown. One of the deceased cats, one died from old age, one after running from home, 2 from illness shortly after being taken in from the strays in the yard, and 1 was killed in the 2014 house fire. So let's go. Cats currently residing, and yes, they are still residing, at 14 Branch Lane Court. As of August 2021, it is unknown if there are any cats living in the horde. The Chandler pets were taken in by neighbours after Chris and Bob were forced out of their home and promptly separated by the authorities. 2 cats, both appearing to be Sylvia and Baby, were seen outside the house on August 29th, 2021, when a Kiwi Farms user confirmed Bob's return to the house. It is unknown if Bob took them back in after her return from the hospital, or if the cats were just instinctively hanging out the place they used to live in. Lucy. Lucy is a cat named after Lucille Ball, the other star of I Love Lucy. It is not known when she became a part of the Chandlers, although it can be said for certain that she was a resident of 14 Branch Lane Court on the 25th of December 2004, as she appears in Chandler Family Christmas Part 1. Of all the cats that had resided in the Chandler household, Lucy is the one who has lived the longest. Chris once greeted Lucy during a voice chat with Sarah May before Bob had told him to get off before she goes off. A photo of Lucy was leaked in the great 2013 Facebook leak. Lucy survived the 2014 house fire along with Chris himself, Bob, and Clover and Snoopy. Chris posted a Facebook status on the 24th of November 2015 revealing Polo, whom he introduces as a new friend. Lucy made an appearance in Chris's season's greeting videos on the 13th of December 2015, where she sat in Chris's lap throughout the video, but got down the instant Chris asked her if she loved him. That's almost sad in a very novel sort of way. Lucy was mentioned in a February 2019 survey as still being live, making her over 15 years old. And if Lucy is still alive, she'll be 20 years old, which is I'm not entirely sure if cats live to the age of 20, but Lucy, to be fair, Lucy seems the one who has coped best in what is essentially a death trap for 14 Branch Lane Court, as well as the Chandler's second longest known living pet, after Paddy. It's a miracle that she's still alive and well, considering the neglect and short life expectancy of the Chandler pets. In the 31st of July 2021 fallout of the incest call leak, which saw Chris banned from the house and Barbara sent to a hospital for an inspection, a neighbour who was given an extra house key by Chris dropped by to look after Lucy and the other cats. That's pretty interesting. It was that's kind of interesting that that sort of thing happened. Sylvia. Now, I do technically want to talk about Sylvia in a separate article, because this is also one that concerns cats, and also one that makes me incredibly uncomfortable and very, very angry. But I will talk about Sylvia later, or in a separate article. Apparently she is still okay, but the story of how it got to that is less than nice, I should say. Baby. A male gold cat with a nasal problem, first mentioned in an October 2019 livestream in which Chris briefly discussed the cat, claiming it would be taken to a vet, then quickly changed the subject and demanded no one ask about the cat or troll him over it, presumably due to a history of Ween spamming calls for welfare checks over his cats. In case you're wondering what that was, that's a cat. That's Baby, our gold cat Baby. He has a bit of a nasal problem, okay? We're taking him to the vet. He's okay, okay? We're taking care of him. So don't ask about that. Don't troll me about that. Do not troll me about that. Now, to be honest, who for the name Baby for a cat was a good... If I had any suspicion, I wonder if Chris was possibly considering naming Baby Sorbet too, because he does look a little bit like Sorbet, but nah, that's maybe more wishful thinking. The cat briefly appeared at the 6:40 mark in the subsequent livestream, playing Twilight's Sparkle Secret Shipfic folder with a new Sonichu deck. In the 31st of July 2021 fallout of the incest call leak, which saw Chris banned from the house and Barbara sent to hospital for an inspection, a neighbour who was given an extra house key dropped by to look after Baby and the other cats. And by the way, this, as you can see here in a video from August, a photo I should say from August 2020. To be fair, Baby looks looks alright, I suppose. It's just chilling, I suppose. Stray cats. Due to the neglect of Sonichu headquarters yard, a population of stray cats lives there, taking advantage of the unkempt lawn, the many hiding spots, and a plentiful food source. A fan who visited the property in August 2019 counted at least 5 stray cats. Some of the most recent cats to become official Chandler pets were taken in from the strays. It is possible that the cats were seen outside of the Chandler's residence on August 29, 2021. Were strays, despite looking strikingly similar to Baby and Sylvia. Yeah, and they're not kidding as well. This is from March 2019, and there's, as you can see, there's 1 cat, 2 cat. There probably could be maybe a third one probably hiding here as well, but, well, I don't exactly know what, I don't know if it was just the surrounding area for 14 Branch Lane that made a hospitable place for stray cats, or whether or not there was something emitting from the house that was a good idea for cats, and I completely clicked off the article. 1 second. Sorry about that. Cats adopted out. Lisa, which we will cover in another separate article again. It's interesting as well is that 2 of the 3 cats, that we're going to be talking about patches at least coming up, so just keep that in mind, because this is, where things get a little bit, complicated. Cats with unknown statuses. Desi. Desi is a tabby named after Desi Arnaz, one of the 2 cats named after the stars of I Love Lucy, one of the Chandler's favourite TV shows. It is not known when he became a part of the Chandler's residence, although it can be certain that he was a resident of 14 Branch Lane by the 25th of December 2004, as he appears in Chandler Family Christmas Part 1. Desi, who also makes an appearance in Chris's future message in a Facebook message sent on the 30th of January 2008, Chris mentions having 5 cats. If it is correct to assume that Chris owned no more cats than the 5 mentioned in this article, we can conclude Desi was still alive at the time. However, in an email sent to Blanca on the 19th of August 2008, Chris mentions having only 3 cats. In an email sent to Jackie on the 10th of April 2010, Chris gave the names of his 3 remaining cats, with Desi not being among them. Based on this info, it can be inferred that Desi was no longer a part of the Chris Chandler's household since as early as August 2008. It is not known whether Desi died, ran away, or was given by the Chandler family to someone else. Questions. Skittles. Skittles is the 4th cat known cat of the Chandlers, and was approximately 21 years old based on accounts from Troll Field agents. Skittles looked like a half-dead lynx on crack. That's like, I will admit, this may be the one time where that's a little bit mean to say for a cat, but you can even see Skittles looks like somebody really fucked Skittles over in the past, because you got, I wonder if it's because of that tooth that's just so long and extended and looks, well, to be fair, Skittles doesn't look like he or she even has any claws, so jeez, I wonder what happened. Probably not seen a dentist or something like that. Very little was known of Skittles or its gender, but given the name, it can be assumed that it belonged to the Chandlers, as only someone batshit crazy or over the age of 50 would name a cat Skittles. Chris probably named it after his favourite candy. At least Skittles is more dignifying for the cat than to be named after a Sonichu character. Based on the Jackie emails, it was presumed dead or missing in action by 2011. This is why I remember, like 5 years ago, I remember watching Dylan Thomas do an article about something like this. But the problem with that is that there was like some suspicion about whether certain cats were dead or whether or not they were just sort of given away or just ran away. So I would like to say maybe possibly ran away, because without any evidence to confirm if they're here or not, well, there it is. We can presume Skittles is sadly no longer with us, but well, unless of course it was confirmed by Chris, that's what we're concerning ourselves with. Kitty. Cat number 5. Kitty seems to be the cat that no one really seemed to care about. Poor guy. Evidenced by the fact that she was simply named Kitty. In Chandler Family Christmas 2004 Part 1, which was made on the, we already know that, Chris mentions having 2 cats, Desi and Lucy. This suggests that Kitty was not yet a part of the Chandler household at the time. According to Chris, Kitty was a good friend of Paddy, the Chandler dog. Since Paddy died on the 27th of June 2006, this would mean that Kitty was already a pet of Chris for some time prior to that date. An email sent by Chris to Jackie confirms that Kitty was still living at 14 Branch Lane Court on the 10th of April 2010, along with Lucy and Scampers. Kitty made an appearance in Chris's tour of his house, always a nightmare fuel that video, and starred in the Captain's Log video of the 20th of December 2009, where it was revealed that this cat can be added to the long list of things that hates Chris. Chris believes that it is normal for cats to hiss at, bite, and scratch people who pick them up. Oh god, if you want... Actually, I'll tell you what, I've got a better idea. Where is the... Let's see if we can actually get the video up, because you guys are going to be pretty interested to see this, because, well... The video's got to be up... I know the video's... it's got to be this here somewhere. Actually, well, okay, well, maybe it's possibly down below, but it's very interesting to see. Okay, well, maybe it's here. That we could check it out now. Oh, here it is. Please tell me the video is not called Pussy Rage. Anyway, so by the way, here's Chris, raging pussy.
Captain's Log, stardate December 20th, 2009. Oh, but okay, here's getting a little fussy. It's okay, kid. It's okay. Calm down. It's okay. Alright. Yeah, she's just my sweet little kitty. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll let you down, kitty. You know how kids can be sometimes. Anyway, I'm picking in the mailbag. And I will. Kitty. Kitty. Come here, kitty. 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 Is enough.
To be honest, I could hear, even without literally having my headphones on, I could hear just the level of scorn and absolute hatred that cat had, because that cat had the sort of hatred that is more reserved for things that you will want to declare the rest of your life to destroying. Damn. The demon-possessed cat, if this is anything to go by. Kitty's status is unknown. It is unclear whether she died, ran away, or was given away by the Chandlers, unlikely given her aggressive behaviour, or when she left the Chandler household. All that is certain is that she was no longer in the Chandlers' possession by January of 2014. Whether this was because she died in the fire, or whether it's because they just finally realised that Kitty was no longer there and it was worth mentioning, one case or the other, you make the call. Deceased cats. Now, this is basically, we know for fact that these cats are no longer with us, so just bear that in mind. Scamper was the second of Chris's cats. Originally confused with Desi, Scamper was a black and white coated cat in The Family Christmas 2004 Part 1, which was made, what else, Christmas Day 2004. Chris mentions having two cats, Desi and Lucy. This suggests that Scamper was not yet a part of the Chandler household at the time. Clues from Sonotube issue 6 indicate that he was most likely a pet of Chris by the time Paddy's death. Episode 12.5 features an alternate reality in which Paddy does not die. On the 27th of June 2006, when Chris's character in the comics goes to feed Paddy on that day, he encounters Scamper along the way. It is not likely that this is a reflection of reality, meaning that Scamper was already in Chris's possession by the time Paddy died. It can be said with greater certainty that Scampers was already living at 14 Branch Lane Court at the time of July 2006, as Chris started making Sonotube issue 6 on that month. Scamper briefly shows up during the infamous tour of Christian's house, in which he pauses for a moment before going outside to talk to them before continuing on his way. Other than that, Scamper appeared in comparatively few videos, compared to Chris's other pets. Very little info about him exists, except that, like Desi, he was not house-trained and shat everywhere. I mentioned this before with the dogs, but you know what? Once again, when you own pets, ladies and gentlemen, you learn how to. It's an early part of like. How does Chris imagine he was going to raise a daughter when he couldn't even look after a cat or a dog? What was Chris expecting to happen? An email sent by Chris to Jackie confirms that Scamper was still living at 14 Branch Lane Court on the 10th of April 2010. Along with Kitty and Lucy, he showed up in the tour of Chris's house too. The precise date in which the video was made is not known. Chris's narration in the video suggests that Bob was already dead on the time, suggesting that the video was shot after Bob's passing at the 6th of September 2011. Chris confirmed in February 2016 that Scamper was killed in the house fire in January 2014. According to Chris, the cleaners found the body of the cat behind the toilet, dead from smoke inhalation. The Chandlers buried Scamper in the backyard and had a moment of silence. I don't know whether the moment of silence was broken by Chris farting or something, but yeah, that's a really bad way to go for a cat or a human from smoke inhalation. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, fire kills in minutes, smokes kills in seconds. Yeah, all that fire training was a complete waste, eh? Polo. Polo was introduced to the Chandler household on the 24th of November 2015. Polo is Spanish for chicken, but Chris pronounced it Polo. His existence was revealed to the world by Chris via a Facebook status, which also confirmed that, as of the 24th of November 2015, Lucy is still alive as well. Polo was referred to in the status as Lucy's new friend. In the season's greetings video, which was uploaded the 13th of December 2015, Chris states that Polo is an outside cat. Polo makes his first appearance on video in Lesbian Sleepover Party announcement. Thankfully, nobody came. To the party, I should say. He seemed to be in good health and shows affection for Chris, nuzzling him a few times. He had no idea. Polo made his second appearance in Chris's specimen sample. Only this time somebody did came, apparently, still showing affection towards Chris. Viewers have noted that the particularly large and loud collar he wears, and the fact that Chris attempts to get him to look at the camera. He was also featured in Happy Cat Polo Kiss Kiss, which, if you want to know what that is, it's not really much of anything, except it's just, well, Chris doing a video featuring Polo. That's basically everything that there is to know. Now, it should be worth noting this is actually the second take that Chris did of this video, because the first take he did, there was some sort of glitch with his camera in which only like a few frames of Polo was shot, so he just did the video again. That's all you need to know.
Hello, Mr. Polo. What's you know? Yes, you're a pretty cat. Now look, there's you. Yeah. You're being video recorded for your cuteness. You're fun and delightful. Yes, you were. Where's the cat? Where's the pretty cat? Yes, you were. Yes, you are. Polo is a good cat. Yes, you have a pretty smile. You have a cute smile. Rosie has a cute smile too, doesn't she? Yes.
Well, you know what? Call it what you may, ladies and gentlemen. It does actually... I know I've probably never said this before in relation to the way that Chris looks after his animals, but one thing I've always kind of tried to... Well, I may as well just come out and say it, is that certainly one of the things you should absolutely do if you have any interest to look after animals whatsoever is that I'm a big fan of the YouTube channel Seductive, which features the adventures of Human Name and his pet duck Wrinkle, and they just go on these really, really cute adventures together. But one thing you're going to learn actually very, very quickly about videos like Seductive or the one about Alexis Divine and her Sheepadoodle Bunny is that the first thing you should absolutely have, if you have any interest or desire to look after pets, let alone your own offspring, is that you should have a certain capacity for love. Which you could say, which is something that I think doesn't get quite a look in nowadays, because people assume that that should be a given. But what I think is kind of nice, I suppose, is the fact that Chris does look genuinely happy by Polo, and I suppose with regards to the fact that Chris was in a particularly tough spot financially during this time, which was of course entirely by Chris, let's not beat around the bush with that, at least it gave Chris some moments of just where he could just enjoy the company of something completely innocent, and something that hopefully that Chris treated well, because if this really was the first stray that Chris adopted then lived for a certain amount of time, it shows that probably just Polo was healthy and just Chris sort of had an inkling about what he was doing, which makes the question of why Chris didn't think about cleaning his house is just as equally as interested. I don't know if it was just because of Bob's influence, but I really don't know. Just after midnight on the 20th of May 2018, Chris tweeted that Polo was dying, posting a photo of him wrapped in a blanket and saying Polo was having difficulty breathing. As Chris was broke, he made a plea for eBay sales money in order to afford a trip to the vet if Polo survived. Sadly, Polo passed away by early morning. He had been over 15 years old, an old age for a cat, at the time of his passing, and was buried next to Paddy. Sorbet. Chris announced on the 19th of September 2016 that he had a new cat, which he named Sorbet, because the cat's orange colour reminded him of orange sorbet, a frozen fruit juice dessert similar to sherbet. Sorbet was part of a litter of 4 stray cats whom the Chandlers had been feeding for several months prior. At some point, 2 of the cats went elsewhere, though Sorbet and his sister, whom Chris named Orange Cream because of her orange and white colours, remained. In September 2016, Chris noticed that half of Sorbet's left rear paw was missing, appearing to have been cut off. Chris found an inexpensive vet to treat the wound and allow Sorbet to able to walk better. Following the operation, Chris adopted the cat. He kept him in his bedroom, with Lucy there to keep him company. Chris has stated that the donations he had been receiving from fans had helped him to better afford Sorbet's operation. Like Polo, Sorbet seems to be considerably more friendly towards Chris, and seems quite happy with being held, unlike Polo. Chris actually pronounces his name correctly, Sorbet. Sorbet makes a brief cameo in Eid Pamud Eid, where the camera angle towards the end of the video shows that he is being held by Chris as he kicks a Transformer toy in a fit of tarred rage over Donald Trump winning the presidential election. I will say there is a little bit of confusion about the way that Chris actually holds Sorbet, as though he's like, it gives the impression that Chris was trying to hold a handbag as opposed to holding a living, breathing animal. In December 2016, Barbara accidentally locked Sorbet in Chris's old bedroom overnight when the cat slipped into the room, while Barbara was adjusting the thermostat, and then closed the door without double checking if any pets were left inside. Chris searched and found him in the early morning when it came time to feed the cats. Then Sorbet wandered off and was hit by a car on the 19th of May 2017. Sorbet was found today by a neighbour. He had not returned home last night. Thank God I put my name on his tag. That's actually a really... Thank goodness Chris did that. That's actually a really smart thing to do. A neighbour found him, looking hurt, hiding in a gutter under their driveway. It took effort and a water spray from a hose. We got him out. He suffered some head trauma. Uneven pupil dilation, bruises and dings, some bleeding. Doctor said it looked like he'd been hit by a car. He's staying at the vet over the weekend for examination and bathing. Say a prayer for Sorbet and his quick recovery. We all love him. Feeling sad. I know a lot of people are probably very surprised about how Sorbet even survived being hit by... Well, I could get into a story I once had about where I saw a cat being hit by a car, but it's probably not worth it. The subject matter is very distressing anyway, and yeah, anyway. Uneven pupil dilation is a classic sign of traumatic brain injury, so it was speculated that Sorbet may not live for very long afterwards. Fortunately, however, Chris did later confirm that Sorbet returned home and recovered from his injuries after a short stay at the vet, having been cleaned up and confirmed to still have his sight and hearing. However, Chris later released a video on the 29th of May where Sorbet is shown to have difficulty breathing. You will be glad to know that I'm not actually going to show the video because I don't really want to, and also because if you've ever had cats that have had issues of this description, whether through traumatic brain damage or I don't know if it could be through issues of, like, say, pneumonia, where cats have had difficulty breathing, I'm for Sorbet's dignity. I'm not going to do that. Chris posted a photo of his cat Lucy for International Cat Day on the 8th of August 2017. Among Chris's followers, the lack of photos of Sorbet raised speculation of the cat's passing. To counter this claim, Chris shared a photo of Sorbet. He appears again in the videos of Chris watching the solar eclipse at the end of August, but his condition appears to have deteriorated. His eye is very dilated and glossy, and his breathing is painfully loud and strained. Despite his injuries and potential illness, he still attempts to show affection towards Chris, that poor cat. But his attempts at meowing came off as strange snorts and gurgles, indicating that he may have fluid in his lungs. Whenever this is a complication of the accident or an undiagnosed illness is not yet known. On the 17th of May 2018, Sorbet was declared missing as confirmed by Chris's Facebook posts. Just 3 days after Sorbet's disappearance, Polo died of natural causes, leading to 2 losses for the Chandler household within a single week. It's largely been speculated that Sorbet just sort of wandered off somewhere and just sort of keeled over and died, presumably. Months later, Chris confirmed to a fan that Sorbet is officially dead. To cope with the death, he believed that Sorbet reincarnated into dimension C197. Now, again, it's not particularly known where Sorbet's body was, but let's not even think about that. I personally, if I was Chris, maybe believing that he was in C197 is just about... Although it's very... Okay, I'm not even going to feed into that. Rest in peace, Patches, and Polo, and Sorbet, Kitty, and Skittles, for that matter. Patches. again, another article entirely. But yes, I'll get into that soon. Posie. Posie was another stray kitten Chris had adopted on the 11th of August 2019. She wandered inside while Bob was giving Clover and Snoopy a bath. However, she died about 2 weeks later, with the cause of death claimed to have Chris by being an unspecified illness. The exact date of Posie's death is unknown, as Chris only mentioned it in a reply inquiring about the kitten. Hey, maybe you could take pictures with your new cat. How is she, by the way? We had done our best for Posie. We gave her tons of love, bathed her, fed her well. She was happy. Then she fell really sick and died. I cried for her, so did Barbara. I had foreseen Posie would not be with us for long when she entered. She was a really sweet kitten. Again, the lack of information is one thing, but I don't even know what I would have done. Maybe if Chris had just mentioned it on his main account instead of going through this stupid role-playing through Magi-chan. But anyway, for those wondering, this is the photos and poor Polo in his final hours. And yeah, I will say that's the end of like that chapter, as they say. So what really can we learn from this? I was kind of actually going into this thinking I was going to be a lot more angrier than I thought I was going to be. But in fairness, not everything that happened to the Chandler's cats was 100% Chris's fault, I want to say. Scamper presumably was, because the house fire was his fault in many ways. But for the others, not really. I suppose this is just sort of what happens when, again, you don't know what you're doing, and you could have solved the situation by, because, once again, I know that, again, during 2016, when Chris was going through financial worries because of his incompetence, I don't think it would have been the best time to have picked out more cats from strays outside. But for other reasons we'll be getting into regarding Sylvia, Lisa and Patches, the other worst thing that Chris could have possibly have done that he ended up doing was trying to simply use sick cats to make a quick buck. And for reasons we'll get into, good lord, I don't have the words for it. But with all that being said and done, I hope all of you guys have learned something out of this, to make sure to look after your cats, or to just sort of just do the right thing, I suppose. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.